Tonight's topic is a short story by Mark Ridenour. It's in Volume 1 of The Survivor. Its title is Now Who's Stupid, Dad? Ever since I'd first brought up the subject of survival, my father had scornfully rejected anything I had to say. He was one of those with the it can't and won't happen here attitude. He reminded me of the brass in the U.S. High Command prior to Pearl Harbor, December 7, 1941. That evening, as I sat reading my latest issue of The Survivor in my room, my younger brother Jeff, who is a carbon copy of the old man, stuck his head through the door. "What you doing?" he demanded. "Get out, Himmler," I barked. He stuck out his tongue at me. "Don't have to." Laying aside the paper, I got up and went for him. Turning, he fled for the stairs. Closing the door, I locked it and then sat down and resumed reading. Presently, I heard heavy footsteps on the stairs, and my father's voice demanded, "Are you reading that idiotic paper again? Cluttering up your mind with that survival rubbish?" I didn't reply. "Answer me," he demanded. "Open that door this instant," came a second demand. Again, I paid no attention. Muttering about worthless whelps and other things, he stomped away and went back downstairs. He, the runt, and my mother would all agree how impudent, disrespectful, and no good I was, and how I ought to be punished. But by maintaining as low a profile as possible, I could get by without too much trouble. Sighing, I finished reading the copy of The Survivor and laid it aside with the others I kept. My parents couldn't invade my room because I kept it locked all the time. Besides the Survivor copies my father would love to burn, there were other books and equipment he had enjoyed disposing of. But unless they wanted to break the door down or send for a locksmith, two expensive propositions, they couldn't get in, and my gear stayed secure. When I first read The Survivor and other like papers and magazines, I was smart enough to realize they were telling the truth, my father's opinions notwithstanding. So, since it wasn't possible to persuade him or anyone else, Mom or the brat, I decided to concentrate on saving my own hide when and if the crunch came. Stowing the latest issue of The Survivor, I was about to begin reading a sci-fi novel when the lights went out. I swore, then got up and broke out my calcium carbide lamp. This had happened before, my father cutting off power to my room at the breaker box to demonstrate his authority or show off his machismo or something to strike back at me. The carbide lamp hissed and burned, casting a soft white light that burned away the darkness and let me read. A knock came at the door and I called, "Who is it?" "Can I borrow a flashlight?" asked Jeff. "Bug the old man to put the circuit breakers back in," I replied. "Then you'll have light aplenty. The power's off all over town, even the street lights." My first impulse was distrust. I trust my father and mother to knife me in the back whenever they can, so I looked out the window and sure enough the power was off. Finding my AM/FM portable radio, I switched it on and listened. The local station was off the air as well. For the first time, unease began to gnaw at me. Digging out my CB walkie-talkie, I switched it on and began to call. "This is KLZA 1508 to anyone with their ears on." "Come in, please, over." I was transmitting on Channel 11, the monitor channel that almost everyone listens to. Within minutes, I had a reply. "KLZA 1508, this is KNH 1234, alias Coconut Pete. I copy you." "What's the problem? The lights are off everywhere." "That's a big 10-4, by golly. The radio station's off the air, too. It must be serious." 10-4, I agreed. "I'm going to monitor 9, the distress channel. KLZA 1508, clear and on the side." Switching to channel 9, I heard a jumble of transmissions. "This is Unit 8. I've just arrived at the light plant. Man, it looks like somebody dropped a bomb. Everything's down and really blown up. Better call out the emergency corps and the sheriff's posse." "Any fire?" "Negatory. There isn't enough left to burn." Keying my transmit switch, I cut in breaker 9. "Go breaker. This is KLZA 1508. Is that the Southland plant east of town?" 10-4. "Are you official?" "Negatory. Is the plant totally destroyed?" "Looks like it. And clear this channel, Motormouth." 10-4, Hot Rock, I replied and clicked to channel 11 again. By now the wavelengths were getting crowded. The news the light plant had exploded and was totally destroyed was just starting to get around. Someone was yelling the Russians had bombed us, while someone else with a stronger transmitter was overriding him and claiming one of the huge boilers had blown. Each of those boilers was as big as a small building, and if one of them had blown, it would be as devastating as a bomb. Besides M-Town, the Southland plant supplied other areas with power. With the plant itself gone, it would be days at least before we'd have any power, let alone full service. And without electricity, a city is a dead hunk of iron, concrete, asphalt, and plastic. Flicking to channel 22, I began to transmit again. KLZA 1508 to KRAO 2345. Do you copy? The reply was almost instantaneous. 10-4 KLZA 1508, we copy. Oh, buddy, the balloon just went up. Southland blew a boiler, and that pretty well leveled the whole joint. I'm beginning my emergency contingency plan, and I'm activating stage 1. Do you copy? 10-4, we'll meet you at the rendezvous site. Roger, KLZA 1508, clear and on the side. Laying aside my walkie-talkie, I dragged out the huge backpack and frame I'd had built for me by a tent maker and welder. The frame measured 2.5 feet wide by 4 feet long. The great pack could take a lot, and it was possible to strap a duffel bag or two along with a sleeping bag, tarp, and ground cloth onto the frame itself. I designed it with that in mind. After clearing it from the closet, I began to pack, working as fast as I could without making any mistakes. By the time I was finished, I had everything I'd need, from basic survival gear to books, magazines, and newspapers and tools that would come in handy for a long-term survival. The fully loaded pack weighed almost half as much as I did, but I got it on at last. Then, picking up my shotgun and donning my hard hat with the calcium carbide lamp on it, I walked out my room's door after unlocking it, relocked it behind me, and headed for the stairs. They had candles lit when I stepped into the living room, and Dad started when he saw me. "What are you doing with all that stuff?" he demanded. "Leaving," I told him. "Where?" he demanded. "You wouldn't care," I told him. "Are you going on that survival kick again? Do you think the crunch, as you call it, has arrived?" "It'll do until one comes along," I told him. "You stay right here. This won't last long. They'll have repairs completed by morning." "No, they won't. The whole plant is gone." "Where'd you hear that?" "Over that stupid CB radio you play with," he sneered. Ignoring him, I turned and opened the front door and walked out. "Why was I given such a stupid son?" was the last thing I heard him say. Walking down the totally darkened street, my carbide lamp lighting the way, I heard the sound of glass shattering, and suddenly running men appeared in my light's beam. "Hey, there's one, get him." My shotgun leaped to my shoulder, fingers squeezing the trigger. Boom. The flash and roar were tremendous, and the charging figures vanished as if by magic, except for the one who lay sprawled on the street 10 feet from me. Walking hard, I reached the rendezvous point, grateful I'd spent $2 for that mass info packet that had put me in touch with an M-Town sportsman's club that was also a survivalist association. Presently, a station wagon towing a trailer came slowly idling up to the spot, and I walked up to it, halting when a flashlight squirted light into my face. "Hi, ready to go?" asked a cheerful female voice. "Ready," I murmured, shrugging off my pack and loading it in first and then climbing into the crowded rear seat, holding my gun carefully. The station wagon took off, cruising slowly. The woman at the wheel and her 3 kids were quiet and alert, looking around. "Where's Jack?" I asked. "He's still at home, securing it." "Good, my family will still be there." I grimaced. "My father called me stupid whenever I tried to warn him." "Your family isn't coming?" she asked, and I nodded. "The brat, my folks, they wouldn't believe me. It can't happen here. I'm the stupid son." "Stupid like a fox," she replied crisply. Grinning, I relaxed. It was curious, but I found myself not caring too much what happened to them. I guess they had killed any love I'd had for them over the years, with their picking, belittling, and nagging and bitching. We left the city limits behind us and drove down the asphalt. Reaching a gravel turnoff, we pursued that until it came to an intersection. Hanging a left, we drove along that road until we came to a small farmhouse and outbuildings. Several cars were parked there, and lights were on inside. "Our wind generator gives us enough power for some light after dark," said Wanda as she stopped the car. Helping her with their gear, we were soon inside with everything, kids, gear, and us. Everyone else who belonged to the Survival Association was already there, save for Jack, but soon he too arrived, and then the chairman began to call the roll. Everyone was present, and after that was taken care of, the chairman asked for a report from each of us. When he got to me, I told of my conversation and monitoring of the CB channels and my encounter with the looter gang. The situation seems clear if grim, the chairman stated boldly. With power gone, the rest of the public utilities will go too, and in a few days the city will be a pig pen. From what we know also, law and order are breaking down inside the city. The looter gang that one of us ran into was probably just one of many. So we had best prepare for a long, long stay, perhaps as long as 2 months. In view of the fact lawlessness is starting to appear, we shall mount guard in case night riders come our way. Tomorrow we'll decide what shall be done in the way of long-term preparations, but for now we shall mount guard and turn in. I have a duty roster drawn up. As I call out your name, stand up and get ready. I didn't draw guard duty that night, but the following morning I did wind up on wood-gathering detail. Armed with my machete, folding saw, and hatchet, I ventured into the woodlands around the small farm site and with 3 other fellows proceeded to cut and gather up dead wood. Upon returning with our sizable load, we then split up the bigger pieces and then kept breaking up the smaller ones until all we had left were sticks about as big as and long as corn cobs and fingers. Small sticks burn better than big ones. The Franklin stoves we had wouldn't be necessary yet, except for food preparation. The large garden out back would provide enough food to see us through the winter if it came to that. All in all, we numbered some 40 people, men, women, and kids. It was a bit crowded, but we were glad for the company. We had well water and for sanitation a crude septic tank affair that was hooked up to a methane gas generator. The methane gas was in turn piped to either storage tanks or burned by the small light plant we had set up along with our wind charger. A week went by and we marked our first week with a celebration. We sang songs, played games, and had a shooting contest with non-firearm weapons. I did so-so with my slingshot, but one guy with a longbow made everyone look sick except for another guy with a crossbow who made the longbow man look sick. We monitored CB channels and listened to the local radio station, which was back on the air. For the first time, we found out what had actually happened. A boiler had exploded at the Southland plant due to a structural flaw that had passed unnoticed by all until heavy pressure had been built up in it. The plant had indeed been almost gutted by the blast, and the loss of life had been heavy. It was not yet known just when electrical power would be restored, although vital public utilities should be restored in another week or so. Scant consolation for the thousands who hadn't prepared at all for the debacle. And so we stayed out at the retreat, working, playing, taking turns tutoring the kiddies, and all in all, we had a decent time of it. The second week went, and then the third. By then I was adjusting to the routine, and for the first time in my life, I was a contributing member of a community. I was respected, and people listened to me and didn't call me a dummy either. On the third day of the fourth week, we were there, a Tuesday. One of the kids was fooling around with one of the radios, and suddenly the local station, which had been broadcasting a pretty weak signal via standby generators, came through like a 21-gun salute. I was helping with the washing that day, and I'd struck up a friendly relationship with one of the girls, a pretty dark-haired, brown-eyed senorita named Consuelo. We had just hung up the laundry when Jack came dusting around to tell us the news. Electrical power had been restored. The city had full power again. All public utilities were operating at capacity. We held a meeting late that afternoon, and the consensus was that with things getting back to normal in the city, we should all head on back tomorrow. That evening, sitting around the small Franklin stove, Consuelo beside me, everyone else singing, laughing, talking, having a good time, I was sad. Tomorrow I'd have to go back to my family and revert to being the stupid son, back to the nagging, bitching, belittling. Out here I'd been somebody with respect. I'd been a good man to handle many chores, cutting wood, washing clothes by hand, hoeing in the garden, doing other chores that needed to be done. I'd won my self-respect and was esteemed by my fellow survivalists as a man they could trust. But tomorrow it would end. I'd go home and catch hell for having ducked out. But after all, they hadn't believed me, just like most people hadn't listened to Noah. Only when it was only too late did they try to get aboard the ark, but by then God had shut the door, and no one else could get aboard. It was much the same way with the survival community. "What's wrong?" asked Consuelo softly. I told her all of it and ended with, "I don't want to go back, but what else is there?" She smiled. "Maybe they'll change their tune when they see you stand up for yourself." "I plan to, honey," I told her. The next morning, Wednesday, we all piled into our vehicles and rode back to town. Jack and Wanda were kind enough to drop me off at my place, which was outwardly okay. The front door was wide open, and I entered with my gun at ready and found no one else at home. Nothing looked disturbed, so I began to explore and found a note on the kitchen table. It said, "We have gone south to stay with some friends of your father's. We'll be back after things get back to normal. Love, Mom." Laying the note down, I turned on the living room light and sat down in my father's recliner chair. Footsteps sounded on the porch, and 2 Army or National Guard MPs stalked inside, both in fatigue battle dress, 45s drawn and ready. "Hey, what is this?" I demanded, rising. "Who are you?" snapped the senior MP, a tall, husky man with grim planes on his face. "Out here, what's the deal?" "Let's see your ID," demanded the second MP. Carefully, I dug out my wallet and tossed it to him. He caught it, flipped it open, and scanned my papers: driver's license, Social Security card, draft card, and gun club membership card, and my sportsman's club card. Tossing it back to me, he lowered his gun. "Sorry, we've had reports looters were still in this area." "Are they?" I asked with a start. "We aren't sure, but they were real bad on the south side of town up until just a while ago, after power was restored." "Yeah, the gangs were really having a time of it, ambushing the refugees trying to leave the city by the south roads." I gulped. "My folks said they were cutting out by the south roads. This note's dated a week ago." "Then they're dead. Those gangs killed everyone they got their hands on, buddy." "What's their names?" asked the MP. I gave them, feeling a funny empty space appear in my gut all of a sudden. The MP looked at his partner and nodded. "We'll check it out. The bodies have been mostly identified by now. Some got through, though, but not many. I hate to be gloomy, but it looks like your folks are dead." They turned and marched out as I went to the phone. Lifting it, I heard a dial tone. I called City Hall, and they referred me to Civil Defense. I called them and asked if they knew whether my folks were dead or alive. A CD clerk checked them and then got back to me. "Your little brother's at the pediatrics ward at Mock East Hospital. I'm sorry, but your parents are dead, killed by looters when they tried to crash a roadblock." "Thank you," I murmured and slowly hung up. Gazing at the picture of my parents on the buffet in back of me, I murmured softly, "Dad, you said I was stupid, lazy, ignorant, dumb. Ever since I was a kid, you said it." "Well, who's the dummy now, Dad? Who's the dummy now?" Okay, here I am again now. The phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. And if you send in $10, you'll get a sample copy of the brand new 4th issue of U.S. Militia, plus a sample copy of Shoestring Entrepreneur, telling you how to sell anything you can make or grow, plus a free copy of Root Rot, or if you prefer, the book on making booze. I would suggest you choose Root Rot, as the Fuel book will be reprinted in Volume 5 of The Survivor. Also, I'd also like you to get a to send for the Corona Grain Mill for $40 and $4 UPS, and put your delivery address and your phone number there for the UPS people. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
A nice story. Sounds like the way I am with some of my acquaintances.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I show my books that I got from you to my girlfriend and my one best friend that I would trust with my life, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, how does your girlfriend react?
Oh, my girlfriend likes them. She was going to get a subscription to U.S. Militia, but I got a subscription, so she reads that.
You can share it with her. I give permission to people who have girlfriends to share the U.S. Militia. Also, you should do right by your girlfriend. Marry her.
Well, that'll come one day. I'm enjoying your books. I've tried out the thermos stew, and it was quite good. And
yes.
I'm on my second hammock, and everybody loves my first hammock, although it didn't come out as I had planned.
Hammock? What's that?
You have plans for a hammock towards the end of...
the kind of hammock you sleep in?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, I was just trying to rescue you before you ask where is everybody. So
well, I appreciate that.
I'll let somebody else on, and I'll check in when I hear you on your Sunday time, which is the Sunday after this one?
Yeah, the Sunday after this one, and it's the same frequency. But starting Monday, I will be on the same time, but the frequency will be 12.160 megahertz.
All righty. I've already got that down in station memory.
Okay.
All righty. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. And when you send in your $10, you'll get a $5 refund on either subscription to U.S. Militia or the Shoestring Entrepreneur. And if you should like to subscribe to the Shoestring Entrepreneur right away, it's $15 and you get 7 back issues of The Survivor at no charge. And of course, if you want, hello, Kurt here.
Kurt?
Yeah.
How you doing? I've talked with you before. I had a question about that new frequency, what is it, 12.160?
Yeah.
That's starting Monday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in the Eastern Standard Time Zone, so what time would that be? It'd be the same time I'm getting you now?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I was going through the dial there. I don't have a digital radio, so I've got one of these analog radios. You kind of just more or less guess where you are in the dial.
Yeah.
Is that the same frequency they were using? They just signed off on it? They were playing country western music on it?
I don't have the slightest idea. Do you know, Kerry? He says he thinks so, but don't count on it.
Okay, because I was up around 12 there, and it was a good signal. So if that's the same frequency, if they're staying on there, you'll have a good signal up this.
Well, I hope so.
I'm calling up in New York State near the Canadian border.
Yes.
And now, the other thing I was wondering about your Sunday program. What time will that come on?
It will come on at 10 o'clock my time and 11 o'clock your time.
11 o'clock my time.
I know that's inconvenient for the people on the East Coast, but the thing is, this way I'll reach the people on the West Coast, whereas I couldn't get them before because they hear this one on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when everybody's at work.
Right. Well, I've noticed, like, you let me read an address on the air a while ago, and I noticed replies I got were like Texas, Florida, and that type of thing.
Yeah, you got.
So you yourself probably haven't gotten too many from California, huh?
No, I don't get any from California hardly at all because, well, just figure that the average person is at work unless they're on welfare, and welfare people don't listen to shortwave radio. They listen to MTV. Right.
Now, the one thing I was wondering about, how do you foresee the breakdown? Like, I don't think, I've listened to your program most of the time. I haven't listened to all of them, and I've ordered your stuff. I'm waiting for that to come. How do you perceive the breakdown's going to happen? Do you think it's going to be like feudalism with city-states and this type of thing, or?
Well, when the breakdown occurs so that everyone knows it.
Mm-hmm.
See, we're already at past the point of no return.
Right.
And so, but when everyone recognizes that, it's going to be mass chaos. And the cities are going to go up in smoke, probably all over the world.
Okay.
Because I don't think there's hardly any system, except maybe Thailand or Malaysia, on the whole planet that isn't in a state of decline. And of course, when it hits the rest of the countries, then those progressive Oriental countries will also decline. And so it'll be a worldwide, not recession, it will be a super depression, and all of the economic systems will just drop. And so most of the social dependents will realize that they're not going to be taken care of, and most of the so-called patriots in the United States are going to demand that the UN throw them in concentration camps and feed them, as they've been warning against. And so it's going to be a lot of fun, really. I am enjoying it because I'm in a safe area.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you've talked about Arkansas before.
Oh, yes.
I know there's this one conspiracy theory that FEMA's going to come in and coordinate everything for the UN. I mean, when there's an emergency, FEMA can't even get toilet paper out. I don't see how they're going to coordinate UN troops.
No, I'm sure they're not good. And now what tickles me is that the Israelis have submitted to let UN troops control their situation when something is going to happen, when they're supposed to give some kind of, well, the Palestinians their own rule or whatever. I don't pay too much attention to that, but I've heard that they're going to send in the UN, and of course the Israelis say that's stupid.
Right.
But I think that the Israeli Prime Minister, Rabin, is it? He's an idiot.
Right.
And him and Clinton are a good pair. What would be funny? It would be fun if they would send the Clintons over to Israel and Rabin over here and see if there was any change at all in the situation. I don't think there would be. But
one story I heard that was kind of interesting was, I believe it was a BBC report that was carried on the local national public radio. I think it was BBC World Monitor. They were talking about various UN forces in Somalia.
Yeah.
You know, and they're dealing in the black market and doing all sorts of bad things.
Well, they've got to live.
Yeah. And it's, you know, you think of the UN and our forces, you know, and freedom and all this stuff, and these guys are just out there, you know, dealing with the black market and just as bad as some of the people.
Well, of course they are.
Helping, so.
Yes. Well, except for the British UN members who are pretty straight.
Right. This was, I believe, could have been, well, I don't want to, you know, make a mistake here and say what country it was. I think it's something like France or something.
No, I think it's India.
Or India, okay. Well, there's some bad apples of one country in there, and apparently...
And also from an African nation. And they're probably coordinating the looting.
Right.
But it's the whole thing is so ridiculous, I can't help from laughing.
Right. So you think the breakdown's going to be worse for the most technologically...
Oh, definitely.
So something like this country where everything's like, you know, our banking, whatever's computerized...
Yes.
We're going to suffer the most.
Oh, yes. Well, it all depends. See, there are billions of people in the third world who are going to die.
Right.
Because the interdependence of our countries has made it so that a lot of people are living who would not live in those third world countries because of aid and trade of the United States and Europe and so on like that. And so they have been breeding like rats, and it's going to be horrible. Of course, it'll probably be over pretty quickly because there won't be any aid from America when it starts, and so they'll just starve within about a couple of months, and it'll probably be pretty much over.
Well, what about this country? I mean, relatively speaking, I mean, in a third world country, they make do without electricity, without computers, without a lot of stuff we have, telephones, what have you.
Well, they can't make do without food.
Citizens in this country, let's say, are relatively soft. They're going to have a hard time when there's nothing for them, everything they've had, like going down to the bank, to the ATM machine.
Yeah.
Everything else is going to be nothing there. It all shuts down.
And there will be people roaming the streets, grabbing anybody and everybody that, and there probably cannibalism will start.
Well, yeah, they get hungry enough. That happened in the Soviet Union when they were starving out parts of the Soviet Union. Stalin, guys.
Okay, well, that's something for people to consider.
Okay, I'll let someone get in here. Can I just put a plug in for my newsletter?
Okay, quick.
Okay, I'll make it quick. My newsletter deals with conspiracy theories, and just send $1 in to box holder, Plattsburgh, New York. That's, P.O. Box 2, Post Office Box 2, Plattsburgh, P-L-A-T-T-S, New York, 1290002. Okay?
Okay. Incidentally, I got your thing here. I got it before me.
Oh, it got there.
Your letter to David. That was pretty funny.
Okay, so you think you know where I'm coming from now?
Yeah, I know where you're coming from, and it's a fun newsletter.
Yeah, okay. See you later.
Okay, buddy. Bye-bye. Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. For $10, you get your introductory packet, which is for U.S. militia, shoestring entrepreneur, and root rot, and it'll really open up your life to a whole set of material that you can't get anywhere else. Hello, Kurt here.
Kurt, this is John from near Philadelphia.
Hi, John.
I just wanted to thank you for the Survivor. It is incredible. I just got the 4 issues of the Survivor.
Now, are you talking about issues or volumes?
The volumes.
Oh, okay. They're the books.
Right. I received them yesterday. I could not put it down. It is excellent.
Well, I'm glad.
If anybody's out there considering it, I would strongly recommend it. I think you're doing a great job.
Well, I'm glad you think that.
I think a person could literally survive based on that information. So
Well, that's how I meant it.
yes, sir. Just wanted to thank you for the help.
Well, I sure appreciate your thanks.
Okay.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas 72611. And if you like these tapes, you'll get whole week's shows for $25 postpaid or $6 each. Send to Jeffrey's Audio, P.O. Box 32, Alpena, Arkansas 72611. They're great for listening to while you're working or driving. And again, let me remind you about the Corona grain mill. If you've got that grain mill, you will never go hungry. You'll get your corn meal for 6 cents a pound as opposed to 28 cents a pound. And you grind grain. Oops, I'll talk about that later. Hello, Kurt here.
Yeah, Kurt, I've been listening to your program for a couple of weeks now, and I think it's pretty fascinating.
Well, I'm glad.
I got a couple questions for you. First of all, what's the spelling of your name so I know who to make the money order out to? I want to send for your information packet.
Kurtsaxon.
Okay, very good.
As long as you get it the right zip code.
Yeah, I got the address and everything.
Yeah, well, we got one lady working down at the post office. This is a little village, and everybody knows me.
Okay, now I got a question for you here.
Okay.
I fully realize that the crunch is coming. It's just a matter of time. Now,
Yeah.
my question is to you is right now I live in a city in Ohio, and I have all the guns and all the ammo and reloading equipment and stuff like that I need.
Yeah.
But I won't be out at college for another year or so, and it's probably going to take me a couple, 3 years to accumulate enough for a down payment for a place, maybe 20 or 30 miles out into the country.
What are you taking?
I'm going to be a high school math teacher.
Well, look, it isn't my place to give you advice, but just think. If the system collapses, where are you going to teach math and what high school?
Well, see, that's just it. That's why I'm so eager to get set up somewhere out in the country where I can...
Well, if you know math, why don't you turn it to engineering or mechanics or whatever, and you can always be a math teacher when the collapse comes, maybe in whatever community you light in. But you don't need to waste time getting any sort of degrees because they're not going to help you bo diddly squat when the collapse comes. Get your education. I'll tell you what I did. When I went to junior college, I majored in journalism and minored in sociology. See, I took just what I wanted to learn, what I could apply.
Right.
And I did. I became a reporter. See, I didn't need to get a degree, and I didn't get a degree. And so I built up from then. I could go anywhere I wanted to and be a reporter except Australia.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Well,
So I don't think that anybody going to college wanting a degree, thinking that the system is going to take care of him, is here you realize that the system is coming apart, and yet you're going to get a degree to work with the system that's coming apart. Now, the system isn't going to wait for you.
Well, I'm just hoping it holds out for another 5 years or so.
Well, I doubt if it will.
Well,
but if you should...
I guess I'll have to live on my cousin's farm then.
Well, there you go. I would do that. But in the meantime, transfer your... If you have mathematical abilities, a keen analytical mind, as you probably do, then turn that into something practical. You can always teach math to your cousins' children and the people in the neighborhood.
Okay, well, but here's getting back to my point, though. It's like I said, I'm not going to be financially able to set myself up outside of the city for several years.
Well, now, here you're putting limits on yourself. If you should subscribe to Shoestring Entrepreneur and use your natural abilities, you could set yourself up in the business for practically nothing.
That's one of the reasons I want the information package to see exactly what's going on here.
Yes.
But say, for example, somebody was living on the outskirts of the city, what would you recommend to them?
Well, start a tire garden. Grow food.
Okay. Yeah, I heard your program last night on the tire guard.
Yes. Well, if you should subscribe to Shoestring Entrepreneur for $15, you'll get that article.
Okay, now
free.
Now the information packet, it tells pretty much everything that you offer, right?
Yes.
Okay, well that's what I was interested in.
Well, get that first, and then subscribe to the Shoestring Entrepreneur and buy the Survivors. And a person with your intelligence, you can apply your intelligence to making a trade on practically nothing, and you don't need to wait years.
Well, that sounds good to me, because I just as soon get out of the city as soon as I can.
Yes. Well, if you have a brain, the world is your oyster.
Well, I just hope it doesn't turn rotten.
Well, it will turn rotten, but it's different parts of the world. The urban areas are going to go.
Yeah, I understand that.
But the rural areas will prevail.
That's what my thinking's been all along, and it was very refreshing to hear your program and realize that there actually are a lot of people who understand what's going on. Because most of the people I encounter, if you try and talk to them about this, and they brush you off, or they think you're some kind of raving nut.
Well, I don't think they do. They realize that they're just whistling in the dark. They're locked into the system, and they know it, and so they are hoping against hope that something is going to keep the system intact as long as they need it.
Well, I don't see how that's going to happen.
Well, you see, they're pathetic. Don't worry about them. Okay, is that about it?
Appreciate your program, and I'll let somebody else get on here.
Okay, buddy. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, the phone number again is 501-437-2963. The mailing address for the information packet is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas 72611. And in case you would like to subscribe to U.S. Militia right off for $35, which would give you 10% off on all of my books and tapes as a subscriber, you'll start off with 4 issues, and you'll get the other issues in the mail as they come out. Hello, Kurt here. Hello, Kurt here. Hello? Well, something happened there. I'm sorry. Well, while I'm waiting for some other caller, the thing flashed, and I pushed a button, and nothing happened, so maybe his phone went out. But anyway, my frequency is going to change as of Monday to 12.160 megahertz. That has something to do with the time change. It has nothing to do with me. It's the station changed it. Hello, Kurt here.
Oh, it got me this time.
Oh, what happened?
I don't know. I just turned a couple of clicks and it was gone.
Okay, well.
Hey, what was that address for the Alchemist?
The Alchemist, that's in either the Shoestring Entrepreneur or the U.S. Militia, and the first letter of both columns, both letter columns.
Yeah, that would be in the that package?
Yeah, it'll be in the package.
Oh, okay.
If I send you the issue 4 of U.S. Militia, it won't be in that one. It's in the first one of U.S. Militia, but it will be in the first issue of Shoestring Entrepreneur, which you'll get in the packet.
Okay, I heard you talking about it. I was just curious about them.
Yes. Well, they're a young couple. They work out of California. They're pretty loose. They'll sell you any chemical except the restricted chemicals, which have to do with drugs. And they'll sell you just about any pyrotechnic chemicals, and they give you a free catalog, or maybe it's $1 or whatever. But the thing is, you can get anything you want from them that isn't absolutely illegal.
Yeah, I was reading. I was curious. The UPS has been passing out a new ruling on chemicals now.
Yeah.
Like, let's they say anything that can react with water, and they're saying powdered metals. They're not allowed to ship them anymore.
Well, possibly so. Then it would have to come by freight. That's a little dicey because when you're talking about freight, they don't take anything across the street without $25 to start.
Yeah, from there to here it's about $75.
Yeah, see, so that would be quite a... well, if you want something, then what's the nearest city you're living near?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Well, you should find an outlet in Pittsburgh. Chemical Supply House, Student Science Center, college. You going to college?
No.
Know anybody who does?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, get it through them. If you want something, you can get it All you got to do is search for it. Don't ever give up.
All right, well, hey, thank you much.
Anytime.
Okay, bye.
Bye for now. Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. And remember, if you tune in Monday, tune in 12.160 megahertz instead of the frequency you tuned in tonight. Hello, Kurt here.
Hi, Kurt. This is Ron.
Ron, glad to hear from you.
Still an excellent program.
Well, thank you.
The new frequency, are we going to be able to pick that up as good?
I'm not sure. Well, one fellow said that he turned in that frequency. It came on very loud and clear.
Okay.
I don't think it would have anything to do, maybe they put a different transmitter, is it? Well, Carrie shrugged. I don't know how it's going to be, but after all... well, it says here, in order to maintain broadcast coverage in Europe and Africa, it is necessary to change frequencies later in the summer than in the winter. So, they can understand it. I can't. I don't see why it would give poorer reception. It might be in opposition to the sun or whatever.
Yeah, okay. Regards to Carrie.
Okay.
And don't want to miss a single program.
Well, I'm glad of that, Ron.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, Ron. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. Hello, Kurt here.
Yeah, Kurt, hi. This is Richard from Ohio. I had a question for you. I got that Corona grain mill from you.
Yeah?
I was wondering, I wanted to start making bread, but I wanted to use one of those automatic bread makers. I don't want to knead anything.
Oh, boy, those automatic bread makers, they're round, and they have a very chewy consistency. We got one because I thought, hey, that's great. And I got my wife one for $110 from Walmart, and all you do is you throw the stuff in there, they turn it on, except it doesn't taste good.
Oh, it does.
It's got a chewy consistency, it's round, there's a hole in the bottom, and hey, listen, you bake your bread in a pan. Learn to do that. You've learned something.
Okay. Save my money, go buy some pans.
Yeah.
And do it on my own.
You can get bread pans from Walmart for I think about 49 cents a piece. And get the kind that don't stick.
Okay.
And that's the best bread you'll ever eat. But that bread and she made white bread too, and she knows how to cook.
Okay.
I just didn't like it a bit, and she never uses it anymore. That's where the money goes.
All right.
I wish she was a survivalist, but she's a Baptist. What can you expect?
All right, Kurt. Thanks. Bye-bye.
You're very welcome. Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt here.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah. Am I on the air?
You certainly are.
Oh, my name is Tom. I'm calling from Michigan.
Yes, Tom.
I wanted to find out more about the Survivor volumes.
Well, the Survivor volumes are 8.5 by 11 on bond paper, over 464 pages each. They are domestic science, that is how to make things around the home, cottage industries, trades, crafts, even hobbies, toys, everything that your great-great-grandparents did on a day-to-day basis to feed themselves and make a living. And it's all written in layman's terms so that if you can read, you can pretty much understand everything there. And I'm always applying things from those volumes. It's like an encyclopedia of do-it-yourself anything.
How many volumes are there?
Well, there are 4 volumes now, and I'm working on volume 5.
And how much are they?
And, well, they're $18 a piece unless you are a subscriber to either Shoestring Entrepreneur or the U.S. Militia, in which case that'd be 10% off for $16.20.
Okay, and how often is the U.S. Militia published?
Well, it's published whenever I can get it out.
What volume are you up to?
Well, we're on issue 4 now, and it'll be delivered to me Tuesday, and then it'll go out right away.
Okay, so it's volume.
And if you should subscribe for $35, then you'll get all 4 issues to start with, and you'll get the 8 as they come out. And I just hope that the rest come out quicker than the former ones. But the thing is, when you get a set of my works, I mean, however many you get, then you've got plenty enough to do and think about and enjoy until the next thing comes along.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye. Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. And again, that Corona grain mill is $40 plus $4 UPS, and give your delivery address and your phone number. Hello, Kurt here.
Hi, Kurt. This is Nick calling from Florida.
Hi, Nick.
I heard you talking the other night about hydroculture or hydroponics.
Hydroponics, yes.
And does your information cover that?
Well, Volume 2 has a complete course. Volume 2 of The Survivor has a complete course on hydroponics.
Okay. What are the advantages over hydroponics versus, say, your tire garden?
Well, hydroponics is grown mainly indoors, and they're done with chemical solutions. Now, a lot of people who are organic gardeners say, well, chemicals are bad, but they're not. If chemicals were bad, the plants wouldn't grow. You can grow a whole lot more with hydroponics, but there's advantages to the tire gardens are cheaper for one thing. And once you've got them, they're low maintenance. The hydroponics, you've got to flush them out every year, and you've got to keep adding chemicals. Excuse me. And it's something that you have to put a little science to it with hydroponics. Of course, you can make a very good living with hydroponics, but it's like apples and oranges. There are differences. There's people on both sides who can succeed. You can succeed either way if you work at it. Hydroponics is more scientific than the tire gardens.
Well, we've got some people interested in just doing an experiment on like an 8x8 area and using some plastic and making kind of like a sunroom, or basically taking an old sunroom. What kind of results do you think we can get in an 8x8?
Oh, you'll get a lot. Are you growing tomatoes or marijuana?
Well, I don't need any of the hemp, but I was thinking more in line of survival food. Would you be a way for a group of people to hold out?
Oh, yes, but not with 8x8. I'd turn one whole room into it, and I would get some overhead grow lights.
What do you think as far as, tomatoes, they may taste good, but they're not really practical to sustain people. What would you recommend for a crop?
Well, I would recommend, let's see now, sweet potatoes, squash. You see, my Indian ancestors lived on corn, beans, and squash, pumpkins, and sweet potatoes. Well, I don't know if they lived on sweet potatoes. But sweet potatoes are easy to grow hydroponically, and certainly squash. And your crookneck yellow squash, my goodness, you plant that and you've got all you can eat. They're very prolific.
How about any of the grains? Because
I wouldn't bother with grains with hydroponic. I'm not quite sure why I wouldn't. I don't know that much about it, but it just doesn't. Why don't you try it?
Oh, we were thinking about corn and maybe some wheat or oats.
Well, not oats, because you wouldn't have any way to process the oats. Rye, wheat, fine, but not oats.
Oh, thank you very much.
Now, soybeans, grow soybeans hydroponically.
How about peanuts?
No, I don't think peanuts. See, the peanuts grow underground, and they would be. I think the moisture would kill them. I mean, it's too moist. You got to watch out for anything that too much moisture would kill. So maybe that wouldn't even be good for sweet potatoes. I don't know about hydroponics and root crops. You'd have to study that. Well, Volume 2 of The Survivor will tell you about that. I didn't read every word of everything that's in those books.
All right, then. Hey, I really appreciate your show. I think you're a lot more practical than most.
Well, thank you. Okay, bye for now. Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address for the information packet is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt here.
Hi, Kurt. My name is Mike. I'm from a suburb in Philadelphia.
Yes, Mike.
And I'm kind of new to this. I spoke with you the other day, and I sent you $35 for a package of books. What do you think about those RTE survival meals, if you can get them anywhere?
Ready to eat, I wouldn't bother with them. They're supposed to be very good, but if you buy my second tape, The Poor Man's James Bond Strikes Again, or if you buy the Volume 1 of The Survivor, you'll know enough about working with foods, buying foods in bulk. You don't need to have anybody put up foods for you, because these RTEs cost you from 3 to 5 times more what the same food would cost in your store.
Really?
Yes. You're not getting any kind of bargain, you're not saving any time, and you might not even like it.
So the best thing is just to buy bulk foods?
Yeah, well, this way you're learning how to do something.
Yes, yes. Okay.
And you can also
I think from what I've heard of your show, only twice, really, I think it's terrific.
Well, you see, if you buy grains, you can sprout them. Maybe not corn, especially if it's hybrid corn, but wheat and rye, soybeans, and so on like that. You can sprout them. You can double, triple, and quadruple the poundage of it and have fresh vegetables. This way you're learning to do something.
Yeah, I don't have a whole heck of a lot of land.
Well, okay, we'll buy a Corona grain mill. Buy your. I'm not suggesting that you grow your grains. You go to your seed and feed store. I'm sure they got one in the suburbs of Philadelphia.
Well, I'm interested in that grain mill that you have.
Yeah, well, that's the Corona grain mill.
Okay.
Yes.
That's terrific.
You buy your grains in bulk, and you either sprout them for your green vegetables, or you grind them and bake them, or make cereal or cornmeal mush and all kinds of good stuff.
And that's in the survival books?
Yes, yes, and especially if you subscribe to Shoestring Entrepreneur and you get the back issues of The Survivor. There's 7 back issues. Now, it's not the bound volume, but there's the one that tells you about corn and beans, the wonder foods. You would like that very much, and it tells you how to live very simply. They taste good, they're nutritious, and they're just dirt cheap.
I'm a corn lover.
Well, you'd really learn how to do wonderful things with corn with that article.
Great. I will be sure to get them.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, Mike.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
Bye now.
Bye for now. Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. And, whoops. Hello, Kurt here.
Hello, Kurt. This is Bernice from Louisiana.
Oh, Bernice, I'm so glad you called. I got your recipe for kush kush, and I don't quite understand it. I just read the recipe. I haven't tried it out, but it sounds like it tastes awful and be an awful mess.
Oh, no.
You sure?
Absolutely. I'll tell you, if I'm ever in Alpena, I will bring my cornmeal and cook in my cast iron pot and cook you.
Well, tell me how to do it anyway.
You really don't have to measure it out, you know.
Yeah.
But I had to sit down and figure it out so that you could understand it.
Well, maybe I didn't understand it. It sounded horrible.
Oh, no. You just put the cornmeal in a bowl, dry cornmeal.
Yeah.
And you put salt, and of course to one's taste. You know, I put a half a teaspoon.
Okay.
And then I usually just take a pinch of baking soda and put it in the dry meal and stir it up.
Yeah.
And then I just take cold water and I just wet the meal. You understand?
You just wet the meal.
Right. And then in a heavy pot, I have shortening, any shortening that you want to use.
How much?
Well, to cover the bottom of the pot.
Okay.
Not to fry it, but just enough to, like to 3 tablespoons, depending on your cornmeal.
Okay.
You know, I'm a cook that cooks by dead reckoning.
Yes.
But then you just mash it down, and then you can see it steam up, you know, under a low fire.
Mm-hmm.
And then you stir it, and you can see the meal fluff up. And it'll get, and as you stir it, but then you mash it down again, and it'll have little brown crunchy pieces at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's good.
Okay, I'll try it. I will try it, and it still sounds horrible, but I'll try it.
What I called about?
Yes.
Grits.
Yes.
Now, I'll tell you, you know, with the Corona meal, and you more or less may want to sift your cornmeal after you grind it.
Yeah.
Save the larger pieces for grits.
Yeah.
Now, it will take more water and longer cooking time than your instant grits. But then they're not running. Oh, there's nothing.
Well, now, wait a minute, Bernice.
Yes.
What the person was talking about grits was hominy grits. And now hominy is made by putting lye in corn and...
Wait, Kurt.
Yeah.
They do have on the boxes of grits, hominy grits. And
Yeah.
it's white. Now, they have, for some time, have yellow grits, but I prefer good old white grits. And you can put bacon or ham drippings on, or even sop and gravy on your grits. You can use this, put bits of pieces in your grits, put it in a mold, chill it, and you can slice it. You can dip it in egg, then roll it in cornmeal or flour and fry it.
Well, I thought that grits had to be from hominy.
No.
Okay, so they're just larger...
Listen, you talk about South, it is Southern.
Okay, well, I didn't know that. The only grits I've ever eaten is hominy ground up.
Oh, no.
And it's pretty messy.
Well, I would think so. But, however, you know, I was...
Well, not all Southerners know how to cook.
Oh, yes, they do.
No, they don't. I lived in the South. Some of my aunts were fantastic cooks, and some of them were awful.
Real quick, I know we're running out of time.
Oh, not too quick.
But,
I've got 1 minute.
But, you know, I have enjoyed your program last night and tonight. We had no political, I guess, controversies.
Well, that's good.
I know guns are important, but hey, if you don't have food in your stomach, how are you going to pull a trick?
Well, food is the most important. Did you...
Absolutely.
Have you studied Mackenzie's 10,000 recipes?
No.
Didn't your friend bring you that volume 4?
Oh, did he ever? Yes.
Well, haven't you looked at it?
Oh, absolutely. But then you should see the armloads of material that he brings to me about once a week, and then he fusses at me.
Yeah.
Because you don't read the books.
Yeah.
In the world am I going to get through all this?
Well, I think you should throw everything else away and read
no,
Mackenzie.
I can't. This is really good material, really.
Yes.
But now something else about that I found better than a tire.
Okay, we're just about out of time.
And that's pallets.
Pallets. Okay, well, call me again. Tell me about that, because I got to sign off.
Okay.
Okay, Bernice.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now it's sign-off time. I'll talk to you tomorrow. So this is Kurt Saxon saying goodbye and be good.